Warriors, it is I, Sir Lancelot, and I play For Honor without a HUD. Let me explain. Now, many of you who have been here in Camelot for some time now know that I've been playing without a HUD for over a year now. Now, I wanted to make this tale a while ago while this was a very popular topic in the For Honor community, but alas, my duties kept me preoccupied and thus I missed the opportunity. But seeing as we are still in the early stages of the new year, I decided that now would be a good time for this tale. Now, before we get into the details, in case this is your first time here, let me show you what I see when I play For Honor. So this is what other warriors see, and this is what I see. I only have about 10% of the original HUD showing, and that last 10% is mainly for entertainment and match information purposes. Now, I removed my HUD as a challenge for myself, to push me out of my comfort zone and grow as a better fighter. But what I did not expect was the game to get very fun indeed. Yes, it definitely was a challenge at the start, but it was that experience of having to adapt my offense and defense because of this handicap that made For Honor so much more fun to play. Now, with all that out of the way, let's take a look at the positive outcomes that I have found from playing with no HUD. The first thing I noticed was how much more aware you become of your surroundings. Because I don't have a minimap to show me who was in the general area, I have to constantly be using my eyes and ears to find this out myself. And in turn, this actually helped me with my positioning in fights. Let me show you how. Right now, I am fighting on Orochi, but my back is to a door, and because of this, I don't see the Warlord running up behind me. So what I do now instead is I always make sure to see most of the point I'm fighting in and the ways into it, so I don't get caught off guard by Warlords trying to run me into the wall, and at the very least use my ears for those pesky assassins trying to sneak up on me. Because I am fully relying on the animations to know where my opponent is attacking, over time it is easy to understand what is a light compared to a heavy. With understanding simple cues, you start to tell the difference between attacks by the hero's body language. Because I don't know how much stamina I have, this has made me more aware of my tempo or speed in a fight. I make sure not to be too aggressive, or in this case fast, and run out of stamina, and when it is time to be defensive or slow so that I can get my footing again and see if I can find a gap to attack. Or if you are just like me, you can just gamble if you're feeling lucky. Now, with anything in this world, where there are positives, there will always be negatives. So let's take a look at some of the downsides of having no HUD. Staying on the subject of stamina, just like how I can't see my own, I also can't see my opponent's, and this can make things very tricky. Because there is no neutral out of stam animations, the only way I can tell if they are out of stam is by hearing them heavy breathing, but that also isn't guaranteed. And here is why. Here is a Peacekeeper out of stam, and here is a Conqueror out of stam. As you can hear, PK's heavy breathing is far more louder than Conk's breathing. And this is the same situation with many heroes in the roster. So when I am fighting a foe and they suddenly become very passive after attacking, or suddenly start walking backwards, I have to take these as also possible signs that they are out of stamina. But alas, even that isn't guaranteed. Revenge can turn a fight on its head in a second, and that's why, because I can't see how much revenge they have, I have to rely on my teammate to let me know they almost have revenge. Or if I know that we are feeding too much, when to disengage to let my teammate finish the fight, or vice versa. Because I don't have health bars or friendly outlines, it can be very confusing to know who is on my team. That is why at the start of every match, I have to memorize who is on what team. And if there are any double ups, for instance, there is an Orochi on my team and an Orochi on the other, I have to find ways to tell them apart. This can be color patterns, armor, ornaments, etc. Now, on the basis that they are wearing the exact same armor and playing the exact same hero, well, it can be very hard sometimes. But that is why, as I said at the beginning of this tale, I leave the scoreboard up, because it shows me who is on what team and what heroes they are. As I said before, playing For Honor without a HUD has been the most fun I have had in the game for the longest time. There is no better feeling than when you get a light parry, or make an amazing read, or survive a gank, knowing that the game didn't tell you what was happening, but just you reacting reading, and acting at your own accord. And I must say, my favorite mode without a HUD would have to be duels. No health bars, no widgets, no stam, just them and me. Steel versus steel. Unless it's Shetland, of course, then it's steel versus wood. But you understand what I'm saying. So there we have it, warriors. Those are all the positives and negatives I have found while playing with no HUD for over a year. Now, of course, there are other points that I could not fit in today's tale. So if you have any questions for me, make sure to leave them down below and I will answer them all. But as always, warriors, if you enjoyed today's tale, make sure to slay that like button. If you wish to join our glorious kingdom, then make sure to subscribe and ring that church bell to stay notified of any future quests. Our weekend shows will be starting up shortly after this tale, so make sure to head on over to our arena so that you can be notified of when they start, and you can be part of the battles that we showcase here in Camelot at the theatre. With all that being said, warriors, train hard, fight well, and I shall see all of you on the field.